to succeed. Hey, there we go. Hot mic, hot mic. What would it be without that, right, Marcel? Yeah, if you've been on the Zoom before, you know Marcel always hits the recording right in the middle of when I'm talking about the purpose. Hey, great job, brother. Keeps you on my toes. But okay, getting back on track here. Navigating life's challenges while endeavoring and trying to pave a new path in multifamily real estate. You know, we realized as myself, Marcel, and Victor, hey, we really need each other because these challenges are hard. And not too long after that, we had a light bulb moment and we realized how many people out there are navigating life's similar challenges, just like we are, that need a support system, that need an arena, that need a stage that they can come on and find inspiration and education and support tailor-made for their chase for freedom, using multifamily as the vehicle to achieve that freedom, just like we were doing. And so that's when we started the Freedom Chaser community. The Freedom Chasers community started with the Sunday night Zoom. Now it is our activation Zoom where we come get activated on our chase for freedom every day. So here we are, family, Freedom Chasers community, education, inspiration, motivation, here on our chase for freedom with the understanding that, hey, life's challenges are out there. We're navigating complexities, but we are step by step paving the way together collectively on our chase for freedom. And it starts with the activation Zoom Sunday night. Let's go.
I love this, man. Are you guys activated already? Are you guys activated to just start taking action tomorrow already? Should we just save everything for another day? I love it, bro. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing, as always. Hey guys, we
got
more. Yeah, absolutely. We got more to share here. But before, hey, make sure. I know Victor is dropping everything in here in the chats. Guys, really make sure you're part of the community, right? This is not our community. This is everybody's community here, right? Everybody here in this Zoom, and the ones that apparently couldn't make it, or I don't even know, are we at capacity? We are. Make sure you are in that Facebook group, guys. And also make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel that Victor has been putting up there. A, because we want to have an actual, ideally a nice URL so it doesn't look weird. But B, this is also where the recordings will be hosted. And as you know, last year we only hosted the recording of this Sunday Zoom there. But with the speakers we have, today and moving forward, I guarantee you, we're gonna probably be looking at similar attendances here by growing also the group. Maybe the team here, Trevor or somebody, wants to donate $2,000 to get us to an additional Zoom account. No, just kidding, guys. But make sure you're plugged into that YouTube channel as well, so you have access to all the recordings. Because, and Victor, please throw that in there. Spam the chat with it, so people don't miss that. But reason I'm saying that, guys, there's more to come. I'm so freaking pumped, and I know so is the team, that we have more to offer on a weekly basis now than just our Sunday night Zoom. And the reason is not to spam you with Zooms, because as you guys know, we usually encourage you guys, don't just go and take action on Zooms. Don't just go freaking attend Zooms and don't do anything else, right? That is not the intent whatsoever. But we want to give you an ecosystem. Trevor will touch more on this here in a second. But without further ado, you guys know I was talking about community leaders become a leader for the past 3-4 months in these Zooms. I always said it doesn't require permission, right? As our mentor Carlos Salguero has pumped into us, it doesn't require permission to step up and become a leader. And there have been people in this community that stepped up to the plate and absolutely took action and led the pack, helped other people to create another platform to take action. And I'm so excited. Let me bring all these guys up here. Actually, let me bring them up. Let me spotlight them, and we're gonna touch on them here real quick, because you're gonna see them quite often here this year, next year, and moving forward. Let me see here. Add spotlight. All right. Do we have everybody up here right now? Put a yes in the chat if you see everybody up here real quick, please. Since I'm sharing, I can't always see that. So I want to make sure all these amazing leaders are highlighted. Yes, yes, amazing. All right, guys, here we got Eddie Charger, big heavyweight in Atlanta. We got Peter St. Martin, and I'm gonna turn it over to them here real quick. Big guy also in Atlanta. And then we have the Jerry, Miles, Jerry and Shelly family. I see Jerry there with his son. By the way, big guy on YouTube. You should check him out too. And I'm super excited to introduce these community leaders within the Multifamily Freedom Chasers community to you guys. These are go-to guys. These are visible guys. These are guys that create platforms for you to start taking action. All right, with that, I'll quickly turn it over because I would love to have them introduce themselves briefly, but also let you know real quick what they are offering on a weekly basis moving forward. Let's start with Eddie and Peter here.
Man, what's going on? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, listen, on the background, I think Veena got knocked off. So can we just double check to make sure she can jump back in here with no problem? Because we are maxed out. And I was looking at the time, we were maxed out. Literally, it took 3 minutes to get to 100 and max out. So that is kudos to all of you guys that are on here on a Sunday night at that, right? The year just started, but it's a very special year. I call it the Jordan year, and I'm just honored to be part and take part of what this amazing team, this amazing community is doing. And I actually got a chance to be able to meet everybody in the background. We have all different stories. Some of us we met months ago, and some of us we just met, but we all came together with the same mindset, and we understood one thing that was important, is that multifamily is how you build wealth. It is one of the most proven ways that's been able to give and allow individuals to be able to have wealth for generation after generation. And one of the main things that has stopped people like you and I to be able to attach ourselves on the bandwagon of building wealth through multifamily is we never had an opportunity the way that we have it now. I mean, even 5 years ago, there wasn't such a thing as a freedom chaser, Zoom activation Zoom on a Sunday night, right? Like that just did not exist. You didn't have individuals like Marcel and Trevor and the rest of the team that was not only, I want to make sure I'm clear, they not only are doing the same things, but they're taking the time to be able to give that game back. And that's the most important thing. And so when I saw Peter jump out of his cage and just put himself out there like, hey, you know what? I'm going to start talking and getting on board and reaching out and connecting with brokers. I was like, brother, listen, I'm doing the same thing. Let's go after it. So every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, the link will go out the same way this link went out. You'll also be able to catch the replay or catch it getting streamed on Facebook or on live on YouTube. We are reaching out and talking to brokers live. Now, half of those calls will be scheduled calls. The other half, we're calling them straight up, looking at the information, finding out who we need to talk to, and we're reaching out. Now, here's the best part about this Zoom that we do at 2 p.m. And if you look and you see the schedule, all the other Zooms is in the evening. This is the only Zoom that's done during the day. It's done during activity time. Okay, on this Zoom, everyone on this Zoom is going to get activated and make calls to brokers. The best part about it is we have experts like Peter that's going to be listening to your call and jumping in live on the call if you get stuck. I mean, imagine like having, your big brother or big sis going to school with you, knowing good and well if that bully picked on you, you okay because you got your fan with you, right? That's what it's like when I call him Big P in the background. He's billionaire Pete in the group. Okay, that's what it's like being able to be on that call. John says like he really pushes you, and this is what you need. Okay, we didn't want to put together a call where you can listen to everybody talk and we show you how we making money. That's great for us, but what is it going to take to get you to get to that point where you can start making those calls? Come to the broker call. That's at 2 p.m. I'll let Peter talk a little bit about it and how what Peter actually. The question I want to ask you is, and this is be good for everybody else, right? Like, what made you decide to step up and start making those calls? What got you to take action?
Yeah, that's an easy question to ask. And it's interesting. I'll back up just a little bit, because the reason I'm in this room really is because of Eddie. The reason this room exists might be because of Eddie. Marcel and myself met Carlos and Keston at Eddie. Well, that's not true, but Marcel already knew Keston, but Marcel met Carlos at Eddie Charger's meeting in Sandy Springs, Georgia, back in July. So amazing how this has come together. I spent the next several weeks just kind of watching these guys do stuff, show up to some of their meetings, didn't even raise my hand. Finally, after listening to Marcel week after week say, raise your hand, ask questions, get known, I started asking questions. People started to know who I was, but I got invited to a broker outreach call. I don't know, back in October, I guess, or maybe the beginning of November. Got on that call and realized that no one, I realized how resistant people were to pick up the phone and call brokers. And I just saw a massive need to encourage people to do that. And that's why I started doing it. I started doing that like the following week. And I had people telling me, well, maybe you should take a step back. Maybe you should do a little bit more research, do this, do that. And I was like, no way. We scheduled a meeting. We set up a Zoom. I didn't even know how to use Zoom. It was, it was rough at best, but we're getting better every week. And now, unbelievably, Eddie Charger decided to join me, and he's got some technical skills that have just made it so much better. And guys, come join us on Tuesdays. It's the start of the whole process. That's how you get the lead. Don't worry if you don't know how to underwrite. We'll teach you how to do that too. That's coming up on Tuesday. So let's start the process. Let's call brokers. Let's get leads coming in.
Here's the crazy thing about it, right? Like, again, this is about community, and I want to push through this because I really want our guest speaker to come on and tell us the whole story of how she got to where she got. I mean, being just shy of $1 billion, she's probably going to get to $1 billion by accident this year. Okay, so we're gonna push through this. Monday at 2 p.m. You definitely want to join in. Click the links. We'll have it all in the chat. You'll be set up for that, guaranteed. Here's how we running this. Watch this. Tonight is the Sunday activation. Get you where you need to be mentally so you can take action starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, Monday, 2 p.m., we'll have the broker Zoom. Tuesday, we will have napkin underwriting. Myself, and we'll have, we've had several. We had Kyle Goodrich. We've had Edward come on. We have other individuals that are master underwriters that are going to come on and show you what to do after you get off that call with the broker and how to be able to take that information, underwrite it to see if it's worth taking the time. Is this a good deal? Is this a good lead? Right? Once you have that, now we're going to take on to the next step. And I don't want to preach on it. I actually want to let my guy Jerry come on and tell you how important those financing calls is. Because once you got a good deal, you better make sure you know where the money is going to come from too, right? So Jerry, I'll let you take it away and then bring it back over to Marcel so he can bring on the heat. My name is Veena.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Hey, I'm Jerry at Venture Commercial Capital. I'm a commercial mortgage broker, and happy to be a part of this community. Can't say enough about these guys. Got to spend some time with them and eat dinner and spend a week with them. In Miami about, I guess, a month ago now, but just real quick, I know time is of the essence. We have our Zoom every other Wednesday. We have it this Wednesday, 7 p.m. And we talk about something in the finance industry. Last one was about agency debt. This call, we're going to be talking about projections for 2023 and where we think things are going and what our lenders are saying and those types of things. And I even kind of put you through a little bit of a history lesson on what the Fed has done in the past that kind of mimics what they're doing now, so we can kind of see what to expect and things as well. So look forward to seeing everybody Wednesday, 7 p.m. So, and I'll put the link in the chat here.
Let's freaking go. I love this, guys. So freaking amazing. And we can't forget, you see a little coming soon in the bottom, advanced underwriting with Victor N to the G. Hey, throw quickly in the chat. We want to take this time. Has anybody in here been on one of the 3-part sequence that Victor put on for underwriting? Have you guys been on there? And if so, how was that? How was that? Let us know. How was that? Guys, can you imagine having that every single week? Access to that every single week? So Victor is actually further educating himself more and more. I don't know, he's probably gonna leave the pharmacy world here fairly soon, because I feel like he might be already stronger than some commercial underwriters out there that do that full time. And he's gonna translate that knowledge that he's learning also on a weekly basis into this community, guys. Give him a couple of weeks of headway though, because we want to make sure that he steps ahead a little bit, and then he brings that to this community. So guys, advanced underwriting. There's only one disadvantage, guys, that I have to share with you. Unfortunately, this is going to be really the biggest disadvantage of everything here. It's going to be for free. So you guys have to hold yourself accountable, okay? There is no money spent, okay, that holds you accountable. There is no spouse that says, you spend 10 grand on this, you better perform. None of that. So sorry about that. It's all about you guys, but everything is here now. Everything is here. I'm going to let Trevor Walker, brother from another mother, take us over now and sum up the whole ecosystem we have ready for 2023.
That's right. We'll just put a bow on this really quickly. It's called an ecosystem because, like living things, when you get plugged into an ecosystem, you have a chance to grow and develop. And this is the Freedom Chaser ecosystem for all of us to get plugged into and grow and develop in the multifamily space. You got the flame there on Sunday to get you fired up and activated. You got the broker outreach. Hey, you're not going to grow and develop in the multifamily space unless you talk to brokers, right? Then you get your deal, you learn how to napkin underwrite on Tuesday, and then Wednesday you figure out the debt situation, and then you just keep it moving again and again, growing and developing your skill set in the multifamily space in the Freedom Chasers ecosystem.
Amazing.
That's it, brother.
Man, I'm excited. I'm so excited. All right, let's keep moving here, guys. We're running behind us on time as always. Every time when we get rallied up, we're running behind on time. Real quick, just again, plug into Facebook. Victor, put it in there again. We have to repeat this consistency, right? Repeat. Now that you know what we've got going on here for this year, if you were debating following through earlier when we mentioned this, maybe now you think different. Put in that Facebook group, put in the YouTube channel, because it's not just going to be the Sunday Zooms that are going to be posted there. It's going to be the broker outreach call. It's going to be the napkin underwriting call. It's going to be the multifamily financing call. It's going to be the advanced underwriting call. Guys, everything, you got to have access to that. So make sure that you're plugged in there so you get notified. Last but not least, we also want to challenge you guys a little bit. Please share this with the entire network, okay? Because we only have 100 people here, right? I think we have, I don't know, Trevor, 600 people or something like that in our community on Facebook of high quality people.
That's right.
Let's make sure that we let them know, guys, please, what they're not seeing right now. I know there's people in the waiting room. Every time somebody pops out, there's somebody coming in. Please, guys, on Instagram, shoot it up there, showcase them, that you're here, what's going on. Make sure you tag us. Make sure you tag us, because we will reshare that. Let's all get known. Let's all pump you guys out there, okay? And let's take advantage of all of us being here and grow and propel together, all right? So with that being said, let me quickly, man, we have really no time. How about this? 2 hands, okay? 2 hands, not more, not less. 2 hands that share a weekly win. Or heck, let's share a 2023 win, okay? We got 100 people here. I hope that at least somebody had a win. If not, then we really have some serious business to take care of. Anybody that wants to share? Right. Jerry, I see you have, okay. Jerry is raising his hand, so Jerry's gonna go first.
Hey, what's up again, guys? I have a lot of wins. I've got 2 of my sons here. My other one is Riley that's on the call here. That's my oldest son. So shout out to him. But JJ had a win. I was going to let him go ahead and take it over here.
Let's go, brother.
Well, on my YouTube channel, about 6 days ago, I think, I had posted a video on Grant Cardone. I got about 600 views, and it gained the attention of a businessman, and he paid me some money to do a video for him like the same way. So yeah.
Boom.
Let's go,
Action taken,
JJ.
man. How big is that, guys? How old are you, buddy?
16.
Man, if he can make money at 16, come on, guys, we gotta really put the shift into gear here, right? And try to catch up with that. Appreciate you sharing that, bro.
You should drop your IG in the chat so everybody can follow you.
Yeah, throw your stuff in here, throw your YouTube link and everything in there. All right, guys. And then we have last but not least, Jimmy. Jimmy, 1 minute. Time is ticking. I'm mute you.
Got it. Here we go. Real quick, before the interest rates started really dropping, I started hitting these and won't get into who all it was, but the brokers, companies, larger companies I was dealing with, and had gone to look at a couple of properties, et cetera. I told them, I said, look, I really, some of these guys, we're looking to maybe assume loans and that sort of thing. And no one's going to do that. No one's going to, okay, great. I just want to put it out there. I want to plug you with that one. I'm now getting blown up with they're wanting to.
Nice. That's
Same
it.
company sending me stuff, and with the interest rate, they're assuming, assumable stuff, et cetera. So that's all that's a win-win right there. You ask for it. If you don't ask for it, you ain't gonna get it, and they like shot me down immediately. Oh no one's gonna do that. And so here we go.
Love it. Thanks for sharing, brother. Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Time is now. Time is now. All right, guys. Hey, that's it. I know there's no more hands because everybody wants to listen to our guest speaker. I know that's why. If not, we have some serious business to do here this next week, leaders, so that next week we have at least 20 hands up, because that's how you're gonna get known, because that's how you encourage others within this community to take action, right? Because some people are afraid to call brokers. You got to tell them how afraid you were, but you overcame it. All right. You got to share your stuff, not just for yourself, but for the community, guys. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to shut up here as well, because I'm excited to introduce our celebrity guest for tonight, guys. We're hitting off 2023, right? We have somebody here, mentioned her name already, who is obviously a big powerhouse in the industry. That's a given. But there's more to it. She's got a big heart. She's sharing the knowledge. This industry is really not a collaborative industry, I would say. People keeping their stuff to themselves. But she has been sharing the knowledge for free, again, amongst many communities. She's built her own community. She's dropping out Zooms, heck, daily, if not every other day, whatever the case. And I'm so excited for her to be here tonight. Matter of fact, we had a schedule for about 3 months now. And we were a little bummed. We're like, man, 3 months out. we want her now. And then about a month later, we're like, man, she's absolutely blowing up. So we can't wait to have her on another 2 months. And what she's been done in the past few weeks has been absolutely incredible. And let me actually do this. Let me do this here. We can't just bring her on like that. I'm going to have to reshare my screen. I'm going to have to play some music here, actually, to bring her on.
That's right. You got to give her a proper introduction here.
Listen, if you guys are excited to hear Veena speak, let me see you put some. I know everybody likes the fires. Let's put some fires in the chat for Veena, because you already know Veena is about to drop something crazy on tonight. Let's go. Let's light it up. Show her love. She could have been anywhere in the world, but she is here rocking it with us right now. She's an amazing human being. I mean, she has a smile that I practice every day, and I still can't get it right. So put your fires in the chat. Show some
Guys,
love.
I'm back. But we have seen this last year, that every single time I want to reshare my screen, I want to play some music for whatever reason. I'm not paying my internet bill, that the internet is going to let me hang. So here, without further ado, guys, I'm going to sing a song. I'm just kidding. We're gonna bring her up to stage now. Here we come, Veena Jetty for you guys.
Woo!
Let's go.
What's up, Veena?
You guys hear me okay?
We hear you
Loud and
perfect.
clear.
Woo! I've had many tech difficulties tonight, so I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. You guys
We're
figured out
excited.
how to get a room pumped up, that's for sure.
Well, you know
I'm
what? If we had the music popping, it would be even popping more. You can't imagine it. But maybe the heat was too hot, you know, to keep the Zoom
Maybe.
going.
I was more excited for you to sing for us, so I'm okay
Yeah,
with
we,
it.
One day.
we do that. We do that when you come back, Veena. That's gonna be
Okay,
it. When
oh,
you
okay,
come back,
that's
I'll
like the
sing.
hook, right? Okay, I'm here for that.
Exactly. Veena, how are you doing? How
I'm
is business
good.
going? How are you doing?
Things are moving along. You know, the year has started off with a bang. I'm really excited for what the next like 12 to 24 months are going to hold for us in multifamily. So all things are going as planned so far. What are we, like 8 days into the new year already? Can you believe it? It's
Can't
crazy.
believe it.
Crazy.
No.
2023. This is our year.
That's
It's,
right.
it's gonna be everybody's here, right? Our
Yes.
everybody's here. I'm so pumped. I'm so
Yes.
pumped. Everything that you got going on there in your group. Matter of fact, before we even get started, Veena, let's make sure, Victor, can you make sure to put Veena's Facebook group link in here? Because everybody, if you're not part of this group yet, I mean, you're missing out big time. I'm sorry. You know, what the content Veena is putting up there for free, so bit of a disadvantage, right? It's absolutely amazing.
Well, you know why I kept it free though? Is because the same reason you guys did, right? We were talking about this just the other day, like our passion for multifamily is so strong. I want there to be as few barriers to entry as possible.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, all right, let's get a free group. Now, the problem with a free group is you get a lot of tire kickers. So you get people who are like, oh, okay, let me join, because there's no filtration into the group. But like the 100 people that showed up here and came on time or came early, those are the action takers. So these are the rooms, like this is more important than any of the groups we even have, because there's a filter here, a natural filter of scarcity. So I'm excited for all of you guys that are here.
Exactly. Hey, let me tell you a secret. Almost 1 hour before this Zoom went live, we had more people in the waiting room than we had in total in our very first ever multifamily Freedom Chaser Zoom about 3 months ago.
Well, I mean, that's because the content you guys are putting out. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah,
Well, I think we might beg to differ on that, Veena. I mean, when you have the queen of multifamily coming on for the first Zoom of 2023, that's quite appealing to a lot of people.
I mean, you said you waited a long time, so good things come to those who wait, I guess.
There you go. There you go. No, we appreciate it because it's Sunday night, right? This is
Yes.
the time where all the freedom chasers, our 9-to-5ers, heck, us family mothers and fathers have the time. But that also means that's where you spend your time with your family, right? So we do appreciate you coming on. But hey, let's get this kicked off, right? And I know you're putting so much content out there and so much good stuff, and I know there's so much more to come. So really, we don't want to get caught into the nitty gritty, because we know you put that out there left and right, which is absolutely amazing. But what we all really want to know is, one, who is Veena Jetty? And two, how did Veena Jetty become who she is today? Where did everything start, Veena?
You said we only have an hour and a half, right? This is like a very long question you're asking me. I'm Veena Jetty. For those of you guys that don't know me, I started a company called Vive Funds, and I'm a large multifamily owner operator. So I only target assets that are 200 plus units and $75 million and up in the Sun Belt plus Arizona. I don't know if you count Arizona in the Sun Belt really, but Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arizona, those are my target markets. Class B, value add multifamily, kind of boring on what we go after, but it's something that we're just, rinse and repeat on at this point. As far as how I got here, so the quick version of it is I come from a real estate family. My mom is a successful real estate investor, but she always focused on single family homes. So she built up a large portfolio of single family homes. And I went to undergrad. I got my degree in finance, graduated when I was 20 years old. And my mom was like, great, now you can come and work for the family business.
Veena, you graduated at 20 years old?
I did. Okay, but wait. Let me just say like this too, okay? all of my friends were, I'm about to age myself here. So I'm gonna tell you, I should have been graduating in 2004, but all of my friends were graduating in 2003. And so I was like, I don't want to be the last one like left in high school. This is going to be awful. So then I like went to my counselor and I like read on the internet and everything. And it was like, okay, if I skip gym and I don't take any study halls, then I can graduate a full year early and go to college a year early. But I'm also an August baby, so I'm like the youngest of my class anyway. So I graduated high school when I was 16. And then my parents were like, we're only going to pay for 4 years of college. So after that, it's on you. So my sister and I both started and got done in 4 years and we left because neither of us wanted to pay for college. So I graduated when I was 20 years old. My degree was in finance. I'll tell you, everything I learned about like multifamily and finance was not from college. Everything was basically afterward. But you know, it's a piece of paper that gives me credibility. It allows me to kind of like stand on it. But like the reality is like, especially today, information is so prevalent everywhere on the internet and in these rooms that, you know, in college, I didn't really learn this. I learned how to like balance drinking and partying and going to class and still like mostly getting through school. Like that was what college was for, was like creating those relationships. It's when you're kind of an adult, but like not really you're like a baby adult, right?
But you said, Veena, you said that you graduated at 20. So
Yeah.
how did you do all the drinking?
Oh yeah. I probably should have thought that through before I said it on here, huh? Well, I had a really good fake ID. So, you know, I'll let you put 2 and 2 together on that.
We may have to edit this part out before we post it on YouTube.
I mean, I think I'm past the statute of limitations, so it's fine.
No worries. No, nobody said what you were drinking, so all good.
Exactly. I was drinking water and juice, milk.
Milk, that's exactly milk.
Milk. Yeah, no, so I graduated when I was 20. My mom was excited because she thought I'd like come and take care of the family business and kind of like step into it and take over. And I was like, Mom, I'm an adult with a degree. I am not going to do anything close to this. I'm going to go out on my own and get my own job and make my own money. And you know, I was talking about a W-2. And so I went out and I worked in corporate real estate, made a lot of money for other people. And then the first year that my husband and I got married, we paid taxes, and I paid, I think it was like $200,000 just in our tax bill at the end of the year.
Mhm.
And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So call my mom and I'm like, Mom, this crazy thing just happened. We just paid $200,000 in taxes. Like, what is happening? She's like, yeah, well, you should quit your job and you should be a full-time real estate professional because it's tax advantageous, and you should start your own business. And that's just what you should do. And I was like, okay, this seems totally reasonable. Now, of course, I had like the support of my spouse and my family. You know, and in my mind, I was like, okay, if this doesn't work out and we lose everything, what am I now? 36. So this was almost 10 years ago. So I was like 26. And so I was like, okay, well, then my husband and I will just like move back into my parents' house until we can like rebuild everything. And then we'll move out again at some point. And that was kind of like what my plan was if it didn't work out. And I mean, spoiler alert, we did not have to move back in with my parents, but I was fully prepared to lose everything that I had for this chance at building something greater and building something bigger.
That's amazing.
Veena, I think just to stop you right there, because I think that's crucial, right? You said you were willing to lose everything you had to build something greater. Talk about, I mean, is that a mindset that you had already, or is that something that had, you know, somebody helped you work on, or just how did that get developed so you could actually take action in that direction?
You know, I don't know why I thought that this was like an appropriate or normal thing to think when I was in my 20s. But I'll also say it's a mindset that I was afforded before I had kids, right? So I think there's a lot of parents probably on here, and, you know, both parents don't have some kind of income, or, you know, like we know where you're paying for diapers or food or tuition or shoes. It's a lot harder to be like, okay, well, if we lose everything, we'll just start over again. So I think for me, it was, my risk was just a lot lower because I was so much younger and I had much less responsibility than I have today. Today, I'm much less worried about losing everything because what I've learned and seen and realized is, you know, like there's a saying, making your first million is the hardest to do, right? And I always thought it was because, okay, yeah, it's hard to make $1 million. And then once you make $1 million, you can reinvest that $1 million and then you can make your second $1 million because now you've invested $1 million. Obviously, it's easy. And then after I made my first million and got to my second million, what I realized was that's not actually what they mean by that. The reason why it's easier to make your second $1 million than your first $1 million is because you know how to do it. And so you can go out and replicate that, right? So now I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, you can take all of my assets, you can take everything away from me. I could go down to $0 and I can do this all again. And I can do it in a shorter period of time because now I have this knowledge that you can't ever take away from me, right?
That's
and I
amazing.
have a network you can't take away from me. And I have people that will help me and people that will teach me things that I didn't know before. And now I know how to shorten that learning curve by so much that I can go out and do this again much faster than I did it the first time.
I mean, you dropped so many things in there just now. You should get this recording, and this is already some content gonna be for your YouTube channel, for your Instagram. It's already worth it for you to be here. But you touched on something very important here. And I would love to ask the audience, if you can put in the chat here, if you have a W-2 job, guys, put a W-2 in the chat real quick in here. Put a W-2 in there. Heck, man, all of us need to put a W-2 in there. And now I'd love for you to put as well the word kids in there, if you have kids as well. If you have a W-2 and you have kids, see, we have so many people in there, and you're hitting the nail on the head there because your risk tolerance is different. But here's the thing. The question I have for you, when you were 26 and you started in this journey for your, let's say, first million, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a Veena Jetty that was dropping free value and knowledge like you do in your community? And I mean, and here right now to you?
No, I didn't. And I wish and here's the thing, not that far into me starting out, did I discover that there were like different pay to play scenarios like networking and masterminds. And I never joined a single one of them. I've never paid a single dollar for any of the networks I've been part of. And it's easily the biggest mistake I've ever made because I took the long scenic route to get here and I could have truncated that timeline by so much had I believed in what I would have been investing in, which was myself, right? Like my own education. I underestimated the power of these rooms.
Exactly. And this is what I really want to point out to the audience here is don't take that W-2 or the family, the kids, your leadership in the community as an excuse why you can't be successful, right? Because as much as Veena was able to be successful at 26, right, without any help, without any guidance, but yet no kids, right, no higher risk tolerance, now you have all these opportunities. You have, legitimately, everything is there. It's not about acquiring really that knowledge anymore, obviously as well, but it's more about taking consistent and intentional action.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And there's no risk with that.
Yeah. 100%.
That's right. And as far as when your journey in multifamily sparked, Veena, what did that consistent day-to-day action look like for you in its initial stages before? And then I'd like for you to talk about what was that breakthrough moment where it just propelled you to the next level.
I think that the interesting thing about when you start out in multifamily is like, you're asking me about consistency. Literally nothing I did was consistent. Every day I was doing something different. I think the only thing that was consistent was I showed up. And that's like 90% of the battle is showing up, being there, right? I think sometimes on these Zooms, because it's on a Sunday night, right? There's a lot of people that'll say like, I can't, I have family. I need to take care of my kids. I have to do this. I have to do that. And as a mom, especially a mom who like travels, I have a ton of mom guilt all the time. So like, I totally understand this. Like my kids are being put down tonight by somebody else, which is fine. But for me, the reason that it would still have been important for me to show up is because I'm doing this for my kids. right? Like I'm doing this so that I can have as many night times as I want to for the rest of their lives. And I don't have to ever worry about anyone telling me where and when I have to show up again, right? Like there's so many W-2s in here. I'm sure you guys know what I mean when I'm talking about like the burnout of working for somebody else, for not having control of your own time, right? If you are called into a work meeting at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and that's when your kid's soccer game is, well, guess what? You're going to your work meeting, right? For me, now I control my own time. So I go, hey, I need to move that meeting. I can't come on your Zoom for 3 months because I am completely unavailable, right? Like, but that's the power of controlling your time. And it's so important to have that freedom, right? Like the multifamily freedom chasers. Multifamily is the avenue or path which all of us are taking to get there. But what's important, more important, is that you're aiming to get there in the future.
That's it. And Trevor, I want you actually to take this moment to share the vision of the multifamily freedom chasers right here, right now, because we've spent actually tremendous amount of time on this. Kid you or not, I mean, it's 2-3 sentences, right? But man, we really locked in on that. We spent hours refining it. Heck, we met with somebody who specifically focuses on that kind of stuff, just to really make it meaningful. So Trevor, please share that.
Yep. So the vision of the multifamily freedom chasers, and I still need to memorize it, but I got it right here in front of me. The vision is to activate and propel 100,000 hardworking professionals in their multifamily real estate journey of active and passive investing, so that they acquire the financial freedom to spend time on what brings them joy, meaning, and purpose. That's our vision.
I love that.
I love that. Basically just summed up what you said, Veena.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys, I should have just let you talk because you did it way better and more succinct than I did. So,
but people believe it from you right away and take it out of your mouth. So us copying it now is even better.
That's right.
I love it. I love it.
My mind is a little bit blown right now, Veena, because you're approaching $1 billion of assets under management. And then, you know, you look back at the Veena that started the multifamily journey. It's like no mentorship, no community. My only consistency was just showing up. And yet here we are, you know, a decade or so later, and you have almost $1 billion of assets under management. To me, that's extremely inspiring.
Can we say that real quick again? Real quick. 1 billion. Can we put that in the chat, everybody, real quick? 1 billion. We're not talking about million, right? We're talking about billion with a B.
Billion with a B.
Billion.
To be like completely transparent and to be clear, because I'm like really big on exact numbers, right? When we're talking, it's not AUM, because I sold 7 assets in Q1 and Q2 of last year. So that's my transaction volume. I bought and sold almost $1 billion worth. Currently, I have, oh gosh, I'd have to add up. I currently still have about almost $500 million in my portfolio.
And I want to point out, since you brought this up, right? Otherwise, I would never bring this up here, but you mentioned it already. You're 36 years old. That's absolutely mind-blowing to me.
Yes, 36.
Incredible. You're an inspiration, Veena. You're a real inspiration. And I think if you could just speak to, again, really quick, because we have such a spectrum of experience in the Freedom Chasers Zoom tonight. If you could go back to Veena a decade ago, so just starting out, and you say, hey, little Veena, do X, Y, and Z to start your multifamily journey, because it will significantly truncate the time to get where you want to be. What are those 1, 2, 3s that you give her?
Okay, 1 is skip single family and go straight to multifamily. 2 is
sell your trash, right? Sell your trash.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. I still have the first 2 properties that I bought that were like single family rentals. I still own them, and quite frankly, I don't even know if I collect rent on them monthly. Like, I don't know anything about them, because my opportunity cost today to pay attention, like for me to even go and check my bank account on a monthly basis, would be so expensive compared to me just focusing on my multifamily existing assets and acquiring new assets. So skip single family, pay to play sooner. So pay to be in the rooms with the people that are where you want to be. So be it whether it's like the conference or the mastermind or the networking or whatever it is, it does not matter. Pay to be in those rooms because you want to form relationships with the people that are in the place you want to go. Because like, to do what I did, I've already done what you want to do, and I can tell you where all the bodies are buried, and I'm happy to share that with you, especially if we're like, you know, we were in Miami for a whole weekend together, right? Like how much time did we get together versus when we're not in person, right? Or we're not in a dedicated space. It's impossible to keep up with your entire network for hours on end. We spent what, a dozen hours together that weekend. And so those are things that I didn't realize the power of those things before I got to here. And I think the third one is maybe not something I would necessarily like say to myself 10 years ago, but I think it's really important that we all kind of keep that in mind now, is there's always somebody who's one step ahead of you and one step behind you. And the reason I put so much time and energy and I pour this like love, like this is all from the bottom of my heart that I pour into these communities, is because it's really important to me that I help pull the next person ashore, right? And so like always, as you're reaching forward to kind of get to that next level, make sure you're reaching backward and pulling that next person. So educate someone else, bring someone else into the multifamily world, you know, tell your friends, tell your family. You absolutely will lose friends when you have an audacious goal. Like, oh, I want to get to $1 billion in assets. People are going to look at you like you have two heads. That's a limitation on what they can do, not a limitation on what you can do. And so have the audacity to say those things, because you don't know, maybe there's someone who needs to hear what you have to say, right? And maybe there's someone who needs to see what you are doing to think that they too believe it's possible. That's why diversity and representation at the top levels is so important, because when my young daughters see women and women of color, especially at the top levels of what's traditionally a white male dominated world, they now too believe that it's possible for them to do it, right? And that's what's important. So always like be reaching back to pull the next person or the next generation forward.
You inspire people, right? That's absolutely amazing. And you know what? There's a phrase that I love to bring up actually in our team Zooms, and that is learn, implement, teach. Every single time. That's really I wouldn't call it a core value of ours, but something that we kind of imagine on the wall, sticking on the wall in our Zoom, because we constantly want to educate ourselves to implement, obviously, but to really retain that knowledge, right? You got to teach it.
Yep.
And this is why we started the Zoom actually, like what, 4 months ago or something like that. So we can give back. And I feel like there's a feeling actually of fulfillment, right? When you see people to start taking action, and I know this is big for you as well, the fulfillment in there is even bigger than when you take action, you're successful in closing a deal or something like that. Like we had some people come, you know, and they say, hey, you know, I send out an LOI, and the excitement in their face and saying, if it wasn't for your encouragement, I wouldn't have done that. That keeps us actually going. It keeps us going to really get to the next level as well. You know, keeps us accountable. And last but not least, the word proximity that you said, your number 2, is absolutely amazing. The time with you was great, and it felt like so authentic, right? We were all this, and this is, I think, what people also in this room, in your community, love about you, is the authenticity. And I'm actually excited, Veena, that we're going to see you again. We're going to see you again by the end of this month in Houston.
Oh, you're coming to Houston. Yes, to Robert's event. I'm excited about that.
Exactly. We're going to be in Robert Martinez's mastermind, where you're going to be a speaker. And I know Jason from Robert's team is in the Zoom here also right now. So Jason, if you don't mind, pop that link for that mastermind in here. So if people want to see Veena in Houston, that would be an opportunity to see her and be part of the pack and create that kind of level of proximity as well.
Can I just tell you something about Robert? Because I've known Robert like online, you know, for a couple of years. It's like kind of like a small community, right? But I had a chance to meet him in person for the first time when we were in Miami last month. And I got to sit next to him for multiple meals, which is again, the proximity thing, right? What he's done is truly unique and incredible because he has raised all of his capital single-handedly and operated his deal single-handedly. That is a very difficult thing to do. And he has not, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he told me he has not taken in institutional capital and still raised hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's just an incredibly smart individual. And you know, he let me geek out with him a little bit about like numbers and strategy. And so I always love it when I can go like even a level further with somebody. So he's incredible. I'm very excited to be at his mastermind. His Instagram is Apartment Rockstar. So you guys should find him. He's a phenomenal guy. You'll absolutely adore connecting with him. And he's bringing in some great speakers that I'm excited about. So
it's going to be amazing. And whatever we learn in that mastermind and whatever Robert is sharing in that mastermind, matter of fact, we have planned to bring back to the community here on the 29th of January. So Robert will be here, guys, for all of you guys. So we told you guys we want to bring this value to the community, right? So you're going to get direct access to Robert as well. And actually, we have committed to a working relationship with Robert, one-on-one, Freedom Chasers and Robert for the next 6 months, so that we can pull all the knowledge and all the stuff that you just shared into the community again.
Cut the check. You took the shortcut.
Yep, exactly.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I just want to commend you really quick here, Veena. You know, I first saw you at Clever Summit earlier last year, just talking shop on multifamily. And it's just like, this woman is special, you know, sharing the stage also with, you know, Cody Sperber and Pace and Ryan Pineda, and just absolutely dominating. And it was a real pleasure to meet you in person. And I just want to emphasize this again. What Marcel was saying is just how approachable and genuine you are. And that was outstanding to me in our interactions in Miami. And Victor, I think also throw Veena's Instagram in the chat. Throw her Facebook in the chat. Everybody should be following you coming out of this Zoom, if they aren't already, and getting plugged into your community.
Absolutely.
You're pretty fantastic yourself.
Veena, what is it that you're going to be sharing at Robert's Mastermind? Do you already know what's your topic going to be?
I have an idea. I think I don't know if I'm allowed to even say yet.
No spoiler alerts.
I know. I don't know if I'm allowed to like spoiler it, but I'll tell you this. I am going to be speaking on a technical topic. So it's not going to be like, I don't think I'm speaking on like mindset or anything that's like more 100,000 foot view. I think I'm like actually breaking down more technical topics. So I will say that. And then if Jason allows us to share, he'll put it in the chat.
I love it. I love it. Veena, we have another thing that we discussed as a team that we were really interested for you to share with the audience here, because I think it's a topic that doesn't get touched on very often. And obviously, you know, people talk about team building and everything, yada, yada. It's easy to build a team, come into a Zoom room and be a team, right? But when you really want to scale, you got to build a business, right? So there's a business development aspect to everything. When did you get to the point where you started, you know, trying to scale, and you noticed, man, me on my own is a problem. I need to really start putting systems, processes. I need to hire people. Like, how did you manage that? And it comes with a financial contribution as well, right? So how did you navigate that point in time?
So that's the second biggest mistake I made, was waiting for entirely way too long to reinvest and invest initially out of the gate into those systems, processes, team members, which I suspect if I hadn't made my first biggest mistake, somebody would have told me to spend the time and money way earlier, and then I wouldn't have made the second biggest mistake I made, but here we are. So
here you are.
Here I am. I definitely needed to invest into systems, processes, teams pretty much right out of the gate, honestly, because actually before I even did my first deal, I would have invested into at least systems and processes. And when I first started, we did a lot of things that were on like free softwares, free platforms, and those will work. Like you can bootstrap that way for a significant amount of time before you have to start implementing like paid tools that just give you better flexibility and better functionality, right? So what I would do if anybody, or I need to ask this question because I need to know how many people are like new here, right? Like how many people, can you just like put a 1 in the chat if you have never raised capital or done a deal, like you're completely brand new? Okay, so we've got like a lot of brand new people here. Okay, now put a 2 in the chat if you want to be doing this, right? Like if you want to start like right now. Okay, so everyone wants to start. Okay. So here's what literally everybody should leave here tonight, and you should not go to sleep until you do this. Okay. You're going to go to Google Forms. It's free and have like a Gmail account, Google Drive. Hopefully everybody knows what this is. You're gonna go to Google Forms and you're gonna create a Google form, and you're gonna make it look pretty because you only get one chance to make a first impression. Okay. And so you're gonna go and you're gonna create a Google form, and it is going to say the following things. What is your first name? What is your last name? Make these required. All of these are required questions. Okay. What's your first name? What is your last name? What is your phone number? What is your address? What is your experience investing? Are you an accredited investor? And I'm going to give you guys like a little bit of sauce around asking somebody about being an accredited investor, because it's a question. You need to know it as someone raising that capital, but you don't want to make someone feel bad about it, right? So on any of my stuff, it says, yes, I don't know, or I will be within 2 years, right? So the reason why is because everybody wants to think of themselves as being accredited in the future, right? In the next 2 years, 5 years, whatever that is. So give them that option to say, I'm not now, but I will be, because you want them to feel good about it, and you want them to feel like they can come back to you when they are accredited. So you're gonna ask, are you an accredited investor? You're gonna ask, have you ever invested before? What areas of real estate are you invested in? And I don't know if I said email, but whatever, all these like basic questions. You're gonna ask, what's your occupation? What did you graduate from college? Where'd you go to college? What's your favorite color? When's your birthday? Gather as much personal information as you think you can get from somebody without them being like, oh, screw this, I'm not answering all these questions, and click off, right? And this is going to be on a Google form, and you're gonna make it look pretty. You're gonna put your face on there. You're gonna say like multifamily with Veena Jetty, right? Or whatever it's gonna be called. And then you're gonna use that as your tool to create a database, because it will auto load to a spreadsheet, to Google Sheets. Okay. Again, it's free. Oh, and you want to ask too, how much capital do you have to invest? Right. And they might not answer you, which is fine. But a lot of people will tell you like 50 to 100K, 100 to 250,000. Those are important questions for you. And then you're going to want to start scheduling those calls with those people. Keep notes in your free spreadsheet. There's no reason why you guys cannot be doing this. Now, the other thing is you can be doing content, right? Like if you're not doing a Zoom, you can be doing a webinar. If you're not doing a webinar, you can do a podcast. If you're not doing a podcast, you can do a newsletter. You can do a blog. There's so many different ways that you can be reaching out to your potential investors, right? And the person asking the questions does not have to be accredited. Anybody can do this. You're just building a database. You have nothing to sell them. You have nothing to give them, nothing to show them. You're just building relationships right now. But you want to create that outreach because you want to stay top of mind. And it's hard to do when you first get started and you don't have deals to be sending, or you don't have an event you're speaking at, right? So you have to start building that relationship with your investors. So you can go to Canva, I don't know what it's called, but there's a free version of that too. And you can type in the templates, newsletter, and it will give you a really beautiful newsletter. And you can go and you can even create a logo on there. If you don't have one, you can put a logo in, you can load your photo in there. You can get pictures. You can make it look all beautiful and pretty. Like you spent $1,000 loading this newsletter in, and then you can go to MailChimp, another free tool. And I think there's others too, like HubSpot and Active Campaign and Constant Contact. And I don't know all of them. I'm just telling you the ones that we use. That's why I'm saying them. But I think all of these, there's like some amount of free versions up to like 1,000 or 2,000 users or whatever. And now you can start using that to send out a monthly newsletter and say, hey, have any more questions? Schedule a call with me. Here's a link to Calendly. Also has a free version where you can have like one kind of meeting scheduled for free. But now what you're doing is you're creating a little ecosystem of follow-up for your investors.
I like that word.
Ecosystem.
That's right. You guys have melded it to my brain subconsciously. See, That's the power of being in these rooms.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, so
Right.
now you have an ecosystem that you are using and you are creating and you are nurturing. And then what'll happen is you'll start raising capital. Maybe you make like a few $100,000, $1 million on your first, second, third deal. And now you're like, I can spare 50K to hire, an admin, and I could spare another 10K to invest in softwares. And it becomes much less painful when you're bringing money in if you can't afford to do that, or you don't want to afford to do that out of the gate. There's so many free ways to do this.
I love this, man. And this is really what we're focusing on right now as the Freedom Chasers core team here. Really building those back-end funnels and everything right now. It's huge. And you can do so much with free. You're right. Free. I mean, we use Canva. Matter of fact, we have a director of creative art in our team, and that's Trevor's wife, Aubrey. I mean,
Yes.
She's pretty talented. Look at the Multifamily Freedom Chasers logo, guys.
Exactly. That was, I mean, she does all of our creative work, and it looks like a freaking professional has put that together. Matter of fact, we spoke to a project manager who asked us, who are we using for our creative work? And we're like, well,
it's exclusive. We have an exclusive relationship with somebody.
Exactly. No, but you're right, like HubSpot and stuff like that. Trevor introduced that to the team, I mean, these free systems, we use Calendly, like all that stuff, it's all out there, it's really not rocket science. You're totally right.
Yeah, and you can like Google for it. You can be like free CRM software. And then I think like you can even use project management softwares. There's a bunch of free versions too, or like really low investments. So
exactly.
You could build a website for free pretty much. Like it's the cost of like hosting it and the domain. And then there's a thing called Elementor, which is like $99. I built my own first website. Which actually I had a lot of people that were like, oh, who did you get to do it? And I said, well, I did. And they're like, oh, can you build mine? I'm like, no, because it took me like 18 days to do.
I feel your pain, Veena. I totally feel your pain. I used to build on the single family side, painful. I had a #1 organically ranking single family We Buy Houses website in another state. And that process was so painful. It turned out really well, right? But so freaking painful. And I said, I never want to do this again. Never again. And obviously the single family stuff is history.
Well, I'm tech challenged. So I feel like you should be extra proud of me when me being on this Zoom it took an act of Congress to get here. So you guys should be really proud of me for this.
We sure are. We had the whole team in the Zoom already, and only Veena was missing. So I gave her a call, right? And Veena was like, I'm trying with my phone and my laptop died. And
I know. I was like, I'm getting on a plane to come there so that I can come and do this in person because my laptop won't work.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Trevor.
Veena, I was going to ask, so I think that's fantastic advice, right? I mean, people can start implementing this day one with these systems that are free out there. They can start building that foundation of having these great external resources. Yeah. One thing that I'm curious of what you could speak to our audience is, okay, if you want to get started in multifamily, even if you still have a little bit of traction, but you're still relatively new, what are 3 skill sets that you need to focus on and start cultivating just to, again, accelerate the success path?
I'm going to give you 3 different skill sets. So there's like kind of like the trinity of multifamily, right? Like there's your acquisitions piece, there's your capital stack, and then there's your operations, right? Like that's like the tripod of multifamily. And so in acquisitions, numbers, underwriting, attend Victor's advanced underwriting class. You guys said it was free. That's insane that there's an advanced underwriting class for free, because that's a skill set. And I'll tell you too, I do like a lot of these like multifamily math challenges and stuff, but man, they really test my skills. Cause like I haven't underwritten a deal in years. And I'm like, so how do I calculate NOI again? Right. And I'm like reaching back to years ago when I had to do everything myself. And so this is like, you guys are getting an amazing opportunity. If you want to be on the acquisition side, do not miss those. There's the cost, actually the barrier to entry, the cost being 0. I think you're going to end up with people taking up spots that aren't going to do anything with it, that really should go to somebody who is going to take action. So just like food for thought for the future, because I love the idea of keeping it affordable, but that skill set is such a crucial skill set that you really only want to share it with people who are going to do something with it. Otherwise, it's completely useless. You don't need to know how to underwrite an equity multiple or an IRR or an AAR if you're not going to do anything with it. So don't take up a seat and don't show up if you're not going to actually utilize it. Let me put that out there. And then it leaves more room for my community, for the action takers in my community to come and do that. So that's one skill set, right? It's like on the acquisition. Then on the capital side, I would say the skill set there really is growing your investor database by understanding what your investor avatar is. So going out there, learning who your investors are, learning how to speak to them. You know, like Trevor, you and I have had a lot of conversations around who's in your network. And then we'll talk about like, what's the best way to present this in a way that will be useful or helpful to them. So knowing and understanding your investor avatar and developing that skill is going to be useful if you're going to be working on like raising capital, if that the capital raise or even like the debt side of it is your skill set. You need to be able to sell your project to somebody else. And then the third is the operational side. And this is where I would say everybody thinks that capital raising is like the piece to worry about, but it's not. It's actually the execution piece, the operational piece, because you can have the best deal in the world. And if you cannot deliver on what you said you were going to deliver in the acquisition or when you were raising your capital or raising your debt, that's going to be a big problem for you. So you need to focus on, I would say the skill set there is understanding which levers you can pull and how they affect the rest of the T12. So it's like starting to understand the budget comparison, right? The analysis of this is what we put on pro forma. This is where we are today. Here's what the delta is. Here's where we can either increase our performance and over deliver, or this is where we need to course correct to get back onto pro forma projections. So those are the three skill sets. I know they're like kind of broad, but it depends on what you're really looking to do. Maybe you're looking to do all three, so you can do all of those.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one way that we encourage people in regards to multifamily space is like, hey, there's so many different roles and responsibilities that you can get plugged into. If you have a niche skill set, or you think maybe you're whether you're introverted or whether you're extroverted, or you know, nobody has to have control of the whole piece of the pie. You can really fit in where you get in and have a major contribution in the multifamily space, because you have like it's like the three-legged stool, right? And then there's so many even moving parts with each one of those three legs.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another fantastic characteristic of multifamily.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many ways to be involved.
So Veena, with Vive, what specifically, where are you operating within the whole Vive, you know, organism?
Yeah, so I actually touch portions of all three. My biggest function or role is actually on the capital stack. I enjoy the investor facing part, but I also do a lot on the like legal and tax strategy, because, you know, I'm that person that'll like read everything I sign. Like I like redline my Hertz rental car agreement, and they're like, everybody has to sign this. I'm like, I know, but how do I know what I'm signing if I don't read it first? So, you know, the desk employees hate me, I'm positive, but I always like read everything. So I get assigned the legal and tax side. So.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. I know one thing that, Marcel, did you have something, brother?
Keep it rolling.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing that you touched on them a little bit earlier, and it seems like it has been a priority for you, at least this past year, is getting more visible, getting on stages.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is like, that wasn't actually like a goal. It was, I mean, Pace is the one that was a catalyst behind that. Cody Sperber and Pace both were like kind of the catalyst behind it. And it just kind of like snowballed out of nowhere.
So that they saw you balling out and they're like, hey, we got to help. What exactly was their thought process? Like, Veena's killing it, but like, Yeah.
Do you want to hear the
let's give us-
funniest story? Okay, I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you,
of
this is actually a
course.
really good story. And I just told Cody, in December, I was at Grant and Elena's office with Cody and Pace and Jamil and like all these clever guys. And I finally told Cody after so long, it's been like 2.5 years since I've known Cody. And I finally told him this story so you guys can hear this because it's really funny. So the way I met Cody was like back in the day, like old school when Clubhouse was like still popping and like everybody was trying to get on and they only let iPhone users on, right? So I'm on Clubhouse because, you know, like the rest of the world, we're like in lockdown. So I'm like, all right, let me get on Clubhouse. So I get on Clubhouse and I, you know, I'm in like all the real estate rooms, whatever. And then I like walk into this random room and there are these like two dudes, like Cody Sperber and Cole Hatter. I have no idea who they are. Okay. Cause like, you know, they're not in the multifamily world. They're in like the single family world and they have huge names. I am just like social media illiterate. So like, I don't know anybody on there. Right. And so I walk into this room and one of my friends is on the stage and like invites me up to speak and they're talking about multifamily. So like I have an opinion about everything. I will make an opinion about things I don't even know about like right now if you ask me, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I definitely have an opinion on this. So we get up on stage and Cole's saying something about multifamily. I'm like, I kind of disagree, Cole. And then I start like saying whatever.
Let's go.
Right? And so, but you know, but it was nice about it. And like, we did like a little bit of like a professional sparring, if you will. And after I like finished saying whatever it is that I said, I can't even remember what it was. Both Cody and Cole like immediately come off their muted mic and they're like, blah, 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 like talking over each other. And I'm like, I don't know what either of you guys just said. And then they're like, Cole's like, Cody, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And Cody's like, I'm one step ahead of you. I was just texting you. And I'm like, what are you guys even talking about right now? And so then they're like, Veena, we have this event that we'd really love for you to come to. It's in Dallas next week. What are you doing? Or they're like, what are you doing on whatever date? Really? It was like January 2020. And I was like, I have something else going on because I was caught off guard, right? I was like, I don't know, I'll have to like check my calendar, whatever. And then they're like, we want to invite you to this private house that we've rented and we're getting like a private chef and it's going to be amazing. And it's like a really exclusive small group of us. And I was like, okay, Veena, you've seen like Law and Order Special Victims Unit. This is how people sex traffic you. This is how they get you. Do not do it. Do not trust these people. So I was like, oh, that's so nice of you. Cause they're like, it's like a private house, like not even a restaurant, not even a hotel, right? And they're like, yeah, you know, it'll be really great, blah. I'm like, yeah, sounds really great, dude. So I was like, I'm not going. So I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm otherwise committed. Like, and they're like, no, come on, like you'll really appreciate it. And I'm like, you are pushing way too hard for this. This is really freaking me out. And so I was like, no, no, no. And I like held my ground. Later, I come to find out, and then Cody's like, okay, at the very minimum, please come out to Arizona and speak at my Clever Summit. I'm dying to have more women. And I cannot believe you just walked into this room right now. Come here and please speak. I'll roll out the red carpet. And I was like, yeah, okay, like email my admin, whatever, right? And so I come to find out later that the dinner that they had invited me to was the 100 million dinner. That's like a super private dinner with Dan Fleischman and all those guys who are like all my friends now. And like now I'm willing to like fly across the country to hang out with all of them. But that was the first time that I am talking to them. It's like, guys, this is weird. So now like I tease Cody about it all the time, but Cody has single-handedly changed my life.
That's amazing. So you didn't even know what really you had. Basically you were freaked out, right? Red flags were going up, but yet this opportunity opened up, and then, you know, it's another door and another door and another door. And I think the take home message is, you know, granted, we're talking a very high level, right? Of very accomplished people, but the principle is you just get a door that opens to you you take advantage of the opportunity, and who knows where that could go.
Yeah, he's the one who connected me with Pace, who has also completely changed my life. But I always credit Cody because he was the conduit to Pace Morby. And, you know, obviously like Jamil, like all these guys are just, they're incredible humans. And what I really love is like, they've totally elevated my thinking, completely changed me.
Amazing.
So
Well, Veena,
I did not get sex trafficked.
Thankfully, you
Thankfully,
did not.
yes, I'm very, very glad about this.
And you mentioned that, right? Like that's also what propelled you to do all this, right? Like it
Yeah.
sparked it. But I mean,
Yeah.
in the end, I think what they saw in you, it's super clear, right? I mean, it was destined for you to do that because the persona you are, just so giving you are also, I mean, it was a no-brainer, right?
You know, I wasn't always like this though. I have to like, I'm going to tell you like the dirty secret, right? Like,
Dark
okay,
side.
I think Trevor said this when we first got on this call, right? Like multifamily isn't like it's supposed to, everyone talks about like collaboration over competition, but it really isn't that collaborative because a lot of people will not open the doors like you guys have in your community, like I do in my community, like Pace does in his community, because everybody's kind of secretive a little bit. And so I thought that we all have to be secretive like this and everything has to be behind a paywall and it has to be like something we don't share with anybody because it's like some kind of a secret sauce that we unlocked. And then when I started hanging out with all of these people that just like are absolutely abundant mindset and like giving, I was like, wait, I believe in abundance too. Why am I acting like if I go and share this with 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000 people that I'm not going to be able to continue doing what I do? And that being around them is what changed that in me. It flipped that switch for me.
It's the proximity for you too.
Yeah. Without the proximity, I would not be here. And, you know, you guys would be doing this with somebody else.
Yeah, but that would
That's
be
right.
not turning out as well as with you.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Veena, we are on our last few minutes. We do like to honor everybody's time, respect everybody's time, because everybody is back at it tomorrow early, right?
Yeah.
And so, but we did want to give you a couple of minutes here, a concluding word, you know, what's on your heart for what you have going on for the Freedom Chasers community. Because at the end of the day, honestly, I think in our heart of hearts, you don't get into multifamily unless you have a little bit of Freedom Chasers DNA in you.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
what we think. But any kind of parting words you would like to give to everybody in attendance?
Yeah, I think to the W2s. Whoa, there's a lot of fire in the chat. Look at that. Well, that's one way to get Sean, who's not driving today. So I think the big thing I would say is, actually, I'll leave you with a story and I'll tell you why I think it's like so important to build your financial freedom and be independently wealthy. Because so I'm married to a physician. I think there's like you guys have a lot of physicians in your community too, so this will really resonate. So I'm married to a physician. He's an anesthesiologist, so he's, you know, a frontline responder. He was intubating during COVID. And it got so bad at one point that, you know, I had 8-month-old twin daughters and I was like, listen, bro, we've had a good run, but you got to go because I am not letting you bring this deadly virus back to my babies. So, you know, we'll see you later. And I really hope you got this. Wear some, you know, PPE and call it a day, right? So I moved him out of my house. I moved him to my parents' house, which is down the street. And my parents moved in with us because I'm like, I need help taking care of all these babies too. So I can't like completely get rid of you, right? So my parents move in and help me with the girls. My husband is in like my parents' house all by himself in complete isolation. But what happened was a lot of the hospitals shut down. And they were doing emergent cases only. And then they were like completely overrun with COVID. So they were treating COVID cases, but he wasn't necessarily the first one called in. He was called in when like the ER and ICU docs got COVID and couldn't treat patients, or they were so overwhelmed, they didn't have enough people who could intubate. So there were weeks, it must've been like 8 or 12, maybe even 16 or 20 weeks out of the year in 2020, where he didn't work. And my husband's private practice, so he was like, eat what you kill. So every time he takes a day off, he doesn't get paid that day, but he can take whatever days off he wants. But what happened was a lot of our friends who were in the same situation where their hospitals were closed and they weren't making money, we suddenly saw a mass stress and panic on them because all of a sudden their income poof was gone, right? And these are high income earners. So you think like naturally, oh, you make like 30K a month or 50K a month or whatever that number is. And if you lose a little bit of that, you have all 8 months out of the year that you can keep going. But what happens is there is a lifestyle creep that happens. So the more money you make, the more money you spend. And it happens to all of us, right? But it can, if you don't have investments, what happens is you're spending active income to pay for your liabilities. And so what we did, I mean, we took all, so we live off of less than just my husband's income, and everything I make, everything above, a certain amount for him, we invested. And we invested into things that continue to cash flow. So what ended up happening was during COVID, honestly, like I didn't even know whether or not he got paid anything or how much he got paid. Like it didn't even cross our mind because our lifestyle was so sustained by the assets that we already had, because simultaneously real estate was like going through the roof and we were in the hottest market we've ever been in. So I didn't really care that much about whether my husband was bringing in, that 10, 20, 50, whatever amount of money over that period of time, because we don't depend on his active income to pay for our lifestyle. So if you guys can delay your gratification, right? The longer you can delay it, the more you can build up assets. And it's not timing of the market, it's time in the market that matters. And so we were one of the few out of our physician friends that didn't really care that much about of course we cared about it from like a people perspective, but financially we weren't really that impacted by what happened. And in fact, we're so tax efficient because we're in real estate. And if you can get that full-time real estate professional designation, we got literally every single stimulus check. They would just like deposit it because our tax filing, our AGI is so low from the depreciation benefits. And so, we actually, because we weren't suffering, we were able to take all of that money and we gave it to people who maybe didn't qualify for whatever reason and needed the extra help or fell on hard times. So we gave all of that money away. So we were able to help other people in a time where a lot of our friends were like, we don't know what we're going to do about this. So the sooner you can get to that financial independence and that financial freedom, the better off you're going to be, because now you can control your time and your well-being doesn't depend so much on external forces. Like I couldn't control COVID. My husband couldn't control it. If we could, great, we would have made it go away, but that's not the reality. And so what do? We found a way to be able to sustain with or without the active income that my husband's earning. So that's my story for you. For all you W-2s out there.
Amazing. Buy assets, right?
Buy assets. Buy assets.
Buy assets. I love it.
Yeah, that should be a t-shirt actually.
I know, right? Let's make a Freedom Chasers t-shirts with Veena on there that says buy assets.
Buy assets.
That's right.
I love it.
That would be fantastic.
We can take the photo we took at the 10X event. Amazing. Hey, Veena, thank you so much for your time. This was absolutely amazing. Hey guys, throw some stuff, whether it's fires. Hey, we had what was it, high heels even in the past. People put high heels in the chat for whatever reason. I don't know. I think that was when Victor was doing his underwriting stuff.
I love it.
show her the appreciation, guys, and maybe if you put enough fires in the chat, maybe she will commit to come back at some point.
I don't know. No,
if it's
of
enough.
course I will come back. Yes. No, you guys are incredible. Thank you guys for what you're doing, because I've been following your community for a while now, and I see what you're doing. You guys are amazing. And I love how much your guys' spirit and messaging just aligns with what I believe in. So I appreciate you guys for building this incredible community of action takers and putting out the hard stuff like advanced underwriting. Crazy. crazy.
No, thank you so much. And you know, we felt that when we met you, it didn't feel like we met for the first time, right?
No,
We
yeah.
instantly like, hey guys, what's up? And like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
It was
absolutely.
incredible. You know why? You know why I actually like immediately resonated with who you guys were? Because I remembered Trevor's investor challenge that he posted. Like that,
Oh, man.
that's why it's important to be in these groups, right? Because like I immediately knew who you guys were. I was like, oh, okay, I know who they are. Because when you had posted it, I like obviously I'm like a stalker, so I like clicked on your profile to see like where he's from, and I was like, oh, multifamily freedom chasers, this is great. And then I like looked up who Marcel was and Victor, so I knew who you guys were right when you guys walked in the room, which is awesome, and the power of social media.
And this is a great pointer there. I love this. So guys, there's the phones of all of us should be ringing up right now with tags on Instagram Reels, Instagram stories. This is exactly, I mean, don't take it from me, right? Take it from Veena then, if you don't believe me. When we want to share you guys, don't do it for us, right? Throw this up there. I mean, tag Veena, tag all of us, and we're going to share the heck out of it. So everybody gets to see you too. Because and see, that's what the brother of another mother is doing there right now.
Yeah, I love it.
And this is what Carlos, matter of fact, has told us when we start working with him from day one. He said, guys, you got to get out there. You got to get known. It's not just mattering what who you know. It matters who knows you. And you just gave a perfect testimony to that, right?
Yeah.
So
it's true. It was, I mean, it felt so organic because we had already interacted virtually so many times. And I don't know about you guys, but like I have a team that manages my social media, but I still log in to see like who showed up today. What takeaways did you take away from this? Are you sharing with other people because you're like-minded with us, right? Like, so are you inviting your friends and family to this group? Are you telling them that like they need to know this stuff too? Are you helping somebody else? Or are you just keeping this all for yourself like I used to, just like not really my vibe anymore?
That's exactly it. Hey, Victor, throw in that stuff again, the links and the Instagram handles. Oh, I love it. See, somebody puts the high heels.
I love it. The lipstick, the diamonds. I'm here for this, Stella. This is
amazing.
This is the right icon. She gets me, and we're connected now.
There we go. I love it. Hey, Victor, why don't you throw back the slides back up here? Because what we want to avoid is that for whatever reason, the Chattanooga area is going to cut down my internet again. It's funny, actually. It happened for the last 4 times, every single time when I would reshare. I don't know what it is, but I only have one try, one shot only usually.
I love it. That's great. Chattanooga is like conspiring against you.
Yeah, it seems to.
Oh, see,
we
I
lose
feel like
Marcel
he
again?
said it and we lost him right at that moment.
Hey, you.
Always this time on Sunday nights.
Am I
they
back?
put him on a curfew. They're like, it's time for bed for you.
I know, right? It's time for bed. Man, it's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, let's hop to the next slide. I think I'm back now, right?
Yes,
back,
you are.
bro. You're back.
Wow, amazing.
Love
Hop to the next slide, Victor. That should be
our next guest.
What is your next
Yeah,
guest?
next guest.
It's our next guest.
Exactly.
Bro.
Guys,
Love it.
next guest, Rod Khalif, right? Next Sunday. This guy is, and I know Veena can share that too. This guy is going to get you fired up as well, because what are we here for? Activation, right? Remember what we said. Remember the ecosystem. Remember how the week is supposed to look like. So Rod is going to absolutely fire you up. I mean, this guy is the host of the #1 commercial real estate podcast. I mean, just put that in your mind, right? I mean, I'm sure there's many people that say that, but look at his followers, look at his content, right? The guy is absolutely amazing. He has a story as well, right? He's got a story to tell. He's lost $50 million in real estate in the 2008 crisis, but that was all single family trash. So maybe it was meant to be, right? And
I actually was on his podcast not that long, or maybe like a year or 2 ago.
That's another credibility testimony right there.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. Hey, make sure you don't miss next Sunday to keep rock and rolling. Hey, put a 1 in the chat here if you guys going to show up next Sunday again. We're going to have Veena to check and make sure you actually did, because that's what she does.
It is. It's true.
I love it. I can't wait for next Sunday, man. It's been 2.5 weeks. We didn't have this, and I was so fired up here today Trevor and I actually came on an alignment call and finished at 6 p.m. and I was like, oh my God, I have to somehow cover 2.5 hours now. And I was so excited. But let's hop to the next slide here, Victor, and bring it home really. Again, the ecosystem, right, guys? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Okay, I know a lot of W2s at 2 p.m. I know you guys usually work. I know it's not easy. Push your lunch break 2 hours later, push it later, right? But the brokers on the commercial side, they usually work there 9 to 5, right? Usually. So if you want to have success, if you want to schedule calls, that's the time. That's where you do it at 2 p.m. Eddie and Peter will take that away. Make sure, guys, we should max that Zoom out, to be honest. If you guys are serious action takers, you guys should be in there tomorrow and crash their Zoom. Crash their freaking Zoom. It's going to get posted, yes, but be there and then share in the community. Most important thing, right? We only have 100 people here, guys. Only have 100 people. Let's make sure we let everybody in the community know. Let's grow the community, but let's grow it organically, okay? Let's grow in an organic way. We only want serious action takers, okay? We don't just want volume, right? Because we want to surround us with high professional people and not just volume people that are here for the ride and have a good time and don't do anything. But with that, guys, then Tuesday, obviously, Eddie is going to do a high-level napkin underwriting. We talked about it. And then we have the Miles family that gets us into the multifamily financing Zoom. So you should be all set. You should be ready to underwrite basically a deal on a high level this week. Bring it back on Sunday, get activated again, share your wins. I hope you guys will share some wins next Sunday. If not, then we're going to have a serious talk internally with all our leaders here. But I think
because I gave you such actionable items, that'll be your win for next week.
Exactly. That's exactly it, right? You know it. So, but yeah, with that, Victor, why don't you know how we do this, guys? We like to leave here with some music, with some vibes. Let's crush it, guys. Let's freaking attack this week. Come back next Sunday, and I can't wait. Share everything in the group. Let's get this multifamily freedom chaser community to the next level in 2023, guys. Peace out.
Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Ludacris going in on the verse, cause I never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that ain't make it and my folks locked down. I never went nowhere, but they saying Luda's back. Blame it on that contour, the hood call it Luda Yak. And I'm on this foolish track, so I spit my foolish flow. My hands go up and down, please go. My verses still be serving, tight like a million virgins. Last time on a college remix, now I'm on the original version. Can't never count me out, y'all better count me in. Got 20 bank accounts, accountants count me in. Make millions every year, the South's champion. Cause all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there. Swerving in my low, head on the swivel, you know serving me's a no-no. Clean as a whistle as I pull out in my Rolls Royce. Yellow bone passenger, they see it, they say, oh boy. Tell Kelly back it up, my niggas call me loco. Down for armed traffic.